Good day, martial world. My name is Michelle Manu, and you're joining us here today from the Shiokan Martial Arts Center. Today, our special guest is Minister of Defense. We call him Minister Pablo Birriel.
Thank you.
Hi, Minister. Thanks for being here today.
Nice to meet you, Michelle.
Well, I would like for you to explain to our audience what your progression of your martial arts training has been.
Well, you could say that I was born in it. I have a family of martial artists. My father was a Puerto Rican. He's from Carolina, Puerto Rico, and he engaged in the indigenous martial arts of the community that he came from. So he was especially good with a machete and what he called a banana knife, which is like a hook-shaped knife. My brother, you know, he was a street tough. He was well known for being a street fighter and whatnot, and he picked up a hybrid boxing style called Jailhouse as being a member of the Stumpers gang in Brooklyn, New York. So I was kind of born into it. My traditional entry into martial arts came through Grandmaster Hulon Willis of Ettrick, Virginia. Okay, now he was a founder of the Southside Virginia Police Karate Association, and he was also an honored speaker at the first ICMA Congress that they had in California in 1968. So they featured him there as well, and he was a guest no speaker, and he spoke actually on racism in the martial arts and not being allowed to cross-culture train and everything. So if you can come into a beautiful place like this now and train, you know, you owe a lot to this particular person.
Absolutely.
And they had great influence over me, him, Grandmaster Morris, Sheehan Van Blow, and Sensei John Alexander. They had great sway over me because they emphasized not just the technical aspects of doing it, but the humanity side and serving, actually serving the community and being there for that particular purpose. I still went on to study American freestyle grappling because I love wrestling. I studied Greco-Roman, I boxed a little bit, and naturally I got involved with weapons. You know, I'm a firearms instructor as well, so I teach firearms as well.
Well, I think that you were talking before we started filming about your #1 influence, who was?
My #1 influence actually was my wife and my father. My father was a person that he was a very simple man, and he was very soft-spoken. But I never realized how tough a guy he really was until I got older, because what he did was he would teach you things in such a simple way. When I was a kid and I was coming up, I was sickly. I was born with bronchitis. And they said, oh, he's not, during that period of time, it was real hard on a kid. They said, he's not going to survive. So my father started teaching me exercises, which he called cuerpo fuertes, which means it builds strong body. And as a kid, you don't know what, you know, I was looking at Bruce Lee. I didn't know what that was. So I didn't know what value was given me. But eventually I outgrew the disease. Later on is when I saw him doing things with a machete that I said, it's something to really be learned here. Because my father, he weighed 135 pounds. Wow. He was about 5'6", 5'7". But I saw him, and this is the honest God truth, I saw him take a tree about this big, a living tree, and hit it one time with a machete and split it with one strike. So as a kid, I'm 13 years old, I'm like, I have never seen anything. You gotta teach me how to do that. And man, my hands, you know, because when you hit things with blades, your hands ache, and I got a lot of cracks and everything from it. But eventually I got to the point where I can get about the size of a neck. You know, I could do that, yeah. And a lot of the forearm strikes and elbow strikes that I use when I teach now, they come exactly from him, because he showed me how to minimum amount of movement, maximum amount of power behind each movement. Yeah, so he was the man. He's the one that influenced me the most.
Well, I would like to show the audience this beautiful crest of your family. Would you hold that and just explain a little bit about the verification and how this came to be?
Well, I've been for years, the last name Birriel with the I is one of the rarest names on earth. And it's almost impossible to get information on our family and find out things. And my daughter, God bless her, she's in the Navy, and she actually spent quite a bit of money to have our family research. And what I found out was that the thing that I'm doing now with Ministry of Defense is what the family has always done. This goes back 900 years, and it symbolizes this black eagle. It symbolizes protection with the arm spread, the gold claws and beak, and the crown that it shows that we fought, we were fighters. The crown shows we were royalty. The feet shows that we were always in the field. Everything on here, the lilies on here show the loss. These feathers right here, they show that we were strong in battle, because in order to be able to put the silver feathers on there, you had to be accomplished warriors. So there's nothing new about what I'm doing what the family has always done.
Thank you so much for explaining that. You spoke a little bit about being born with bronchitis.
Absolutely.
You have had an amazing journey with moments in life where you weren't supposed to make it or you weren't supposed to walk again.
Yeah.
Would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. When I was a kid and I was born blue. And there was many times that, you know, that I had attacks, sometimes 30, 40 days when I got to school age that I was out at a time because I couldn't breathe, you know, and I was fighting for my life. They didn't think that I was going to make it, but I did, okay? As I got older, you know, I went through, one of my sons was killed in a car accident, and I went through attempted suicide and reestablishing myself and gaining my faith. It's when I gained my faith that I started to get my strength back and get my understanding, get me back. Once I started to do that, I still had other challenges. You know, as I was telling you before, I've been blind 3 times. Yeah, as a result of type 2 diabetes. I've been deaf 1 time in my left ear. My shoulder's been reconstructed. You know, I had a lot of damage done to that, so I had muscle and bone repair. I've had many operations on my left leg, which left me with a really cool walk. And actually, the last surgery that I had a femoral pop where they actually spliced in 2 veins because my femoral artery was 100% blocked. So I was actually walking around and working, you know, with that leg, and then totally no blood flow below the knee. And, you know, everybody's trying to figure out, you know, hey, how do you do that? But it's all a matter of faith in what you believe. And the establishment of faith is what gives you your inner strength. And it's that inner strength that allows you to continue on when people go, okay, I don't understand why you're able to continue.
Yeah. You approach your martial arts lifestyle as a ministry. You spoke about serving. Would you talk a little bit about how you are a minister these days?
Okay. And here's the thing. Historically, we know that within any community, there's always those that teach martial arts, and they've always been holy men. They've always been holy people. Yeah. And they are the ones that have such great faith and belief in a higher power and a calling, that they use that higher power and a calling to shape their lives, and it causes them to shape the lives of other people. Yeah. So it's not unusual for me to call myself a minister, because being a minister just means being a servant, being able to serve the people. That's what ministering. When we're here, we're friends, I minister to you. Sure. You understand? I speak well to you to uplift your spirits. So just being a minister is just that. It's just ministering. And the way I look at it is very, very simple. My martial self is just an expression of my Christian spiritual self. I get it. You know?
Yeah, it's a manifestation of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you give yourself that title? I thought your readers of I'm going to actually show the audience a couple of ministers' books here, and he has several others that I'll have him speak about. But did you give yourself that title? I thought it was your readers that actually gave you that title.
It was. What happened was, you know, when you're doing a book, you want a book that's very simple for people to remember, but I wanted to have an impact to let them understand that I was writing something different. That particular book, the first book, The Ministry of Defense, yes, this particular book right here, and when I wrote this book right here, I wanted to let them know that ministry in and of itself is defense. Defense is a ministry. And the way you approach it, it is a way of serving. You serve your family, you serve your community, you serve your church. This is what you do. And in being able to do it in that particular way, that's what it came about. I didn't call myself the minister of defense. That came later. Yeah. It's the ministry of defense. The title itself came in it because everybody just said that's the minister of defense. Correct. And you know, like most nicknames do, if somebody says it long enough, other people pick it up.
Of course they do, and the media happens. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
And would you talk a little bit about this, the seven elements of combat?
I'm really proud about this.
Are you? It's a beautiful cover.
It's a philosophical journey for me. Initially, what I wanted to do was I wanted to do like a training manual. Every martial artist wants to do that.
Yes, of course.
But what happens is, as you go along and you learn, the more you learn, it adjusts your way of thinking. Sure. As you learn more things and you apply more things to it, you become wiser as you get along. So what I did was I wrote on the journey, the philosophy of it. Because if I give you the philosophy of how I got to where I got to, then it makes it easier for you to find your own path and your own way. This book right here redefines warfare, because warfare is just not simply conflict between man and woman, and that's not warfare. Warfare is simply opposition. You know, in my book, I gave a formula in there on how to get the things that you want out of life, how to apply martial principles to living, because that's the way it was taught to me. So what you do is very simple. You take your opportunity to self-discover. That's where your prayer comes in. You locate the truth. Then you educate yourself on what the real issue is, and then you apply it through your flesh. So those three things right there then allows you to go out and accomplish your goals, because that's what this is really all about, how to live well.
Thank you very much. And it's good. I think a lot of people get clouded with all of the what ifs, and I'm scared, and what if I try that, and what if I fail, and that breaks it down. Yeah. So if someone's so courageous enough to take those 3 steps, then most likely, at least they'll be moving. You know, you can't do anything if you're
always starts with honesty. If you can tell yourself, you have to. And that's where prayer comes in, because prayer reveals things to you. You'll notice that all great warriors pray. You have to get in contact with yourself and your Creator. Yeah, you have to.
Did you use prayer during your executive protection days?
Oh, you better believe it.
I need you to talk about it.
Well, in doing in Petersburg, I'm from Petersburg, Virginia.
Right, yeah.
Now, from being from Petersburg, there's not that many people doing professional bodyguard work. It's not, simply not. And it's not that much call for it. But what actually happened was I was tapped to be with a team at Virginia Commonwealth University in 1990, which was my first start on doing executive protection. And they called me in to be with a speaker. It was Jamil Alameen, H. Brown, and he was speaking on AIDS. And there had been 5 attempts on his life already when we came in there. So as a part of that team, I served there, and what I realized is that I wasn't qualified. I didn't know enough. I wasn't educated enough. And I'm one that I'll admit that, and then I go after the education. That's where Executive Security International came in, Bob Dugan and his crew. I got involved with them, but it was after heavy research. There were other people out there that was doing something similar, but his was the most comprehensive. And his, one of the things that he touted was being able to teach on the same level and provide information just as if they had it Secret Service. So it's Secret Service level training. So I went and adopted that and came through the class, and then I came back home with it and continued to do other things.
Good. That's wonderful. You know, I was wondering, you have also not just authored, done executive protection, have served the community. You've also taught observational psychology.
Absolutely.
Now, how does that tie in with everything?
Well, now, here's the thing. The way I teach observational psychology is this. It's more than just about seeing or being, careful to observe what's going on. There's more to it than that. I teach my people that there's 3 cues. There are cues that people give. There are auditory cues by things that people say. There's visual cues that you have. But there's also spiritual cues. Intuitive. Now, women call that women's intuition, but it's not limited to you all.
It's not.
In the Bible, they call it discerning of spirit.
That's correct.
That means recognizing it. There you go. And it tells you to reach out there. So I teach my guys, when you go out there, when you look at somebody and they don't appear to be something's out of place, don't ignore that feeling, because that's a God-given gift to be able to, when nothing else is detectable, to look and go, something about that guy's not right.
And just to pay extra attention.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's what I do in my self-defense is like, green is essentially where your eyes and your gut match. Yellow is something's not right, but you can't see anything. Orange is, okay, there's something definitely going on because my gut's going off and I'm seeing that guy is kind of weird or that woman's kind of weird. And then red is an absolute situation where you have to react.
You're absolutely right. This is exactly the way you do it. Because a lot of times you'll hear people after the fact go, when you feed people, my favorite thing is to hear the next door neighbor story. You know the next door neighbor story.
Oh yeah.
Well, he was a nice guy.
Yeah,
he helped me with groceries. I didn't know. I didn't know he had feet in his refrigerator.
Never thought,
So but there's something wrong there, and you know it is. But you just can't put your hands around it.
No, you can't. It's kind of like a cheating spouse. Something's going on, but you have no visual confirmation.
I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to get away from that one. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, though. Yeah.
You have been inducted into the Masters Hall of Fame. So as an alumnus, what has that induction meant for you in your life?
It means more than I can describe. The people that's in this organization that I've looked, because I tell you, I look and I investigate. These were the guys that I grew up looking at when I was a kid. And these were my heroes, and to be included in this type of assembly is just amazing, to me, to just be a part of it, And, I can't thank you guys enough.
Well, you belong here. You do, Minister. Is there something that the audience wouldn't know about you?
Yeah. We talked about it before. For 2 years, I was under contract as a performer for the Apollo Theater.
Which is so cool. I wish you could get up and start singing for me right now.
I don't know. I might be persuaded to do a little something. I don't know.
Well, please, if you must.
Okay. Okay. Now I want y'all to know. Hey, cameraman, you may want to shut the sound off. But I'm gonna try this out. We're gonna see how it goes on camera. Okay. Lord, if I find favor in your eyes, Lord, please hear my humble prayer. I'm desperately searching to be where you are. I'll walk the driest desert, travel near or far. For your glory, I would do anything just to see you be my Lord and King. I want to be where you are. Peace is where you are. That's all I can do.
Yay! Thank you. Wow, that wasn't expected. I love little surprises, good ones.
Yeah,
that
I
was a
wasn't
good
offer
one.
anything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know, I didn't even let him warm up. I'm terrible host.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we're concluding your interview now, and I want to give you a moment to share anything that's on your heart about the martial community or, you know, about your local community, anything that you'd like to say to our viewers.
Well, I'm working on my final book out of the series that I have there, and it's called Lexicon. It's called Secrets of a Dangerous Mind. And that book is 3/4 of the way completed right now.
Wonderful.
So that'll be coming out. And what that is my experience with what unconventional warfare. It's also improvised weapons, because there's a lot of that, as well as conventional weapons. That's going to be coming out. So keep your eyes on it. You got to get a copy.
I get a copy.
But the main thing that I want to stress is this. Some of the biggest discoveries that I had about martial arts and about myself were not martial art moments.
They were life moments.
They were life moments, and
moments.
there were things where faith came to bear and it taught me things. When I teach alignment, that's not my concept. I learned that from a man called Apostle Stephen Banks. And I continued on with that teaching with my current pastor, who is Apostle Charlie Ammons in Restoration Christian Church. This is my family. And these are the people that I love and I serve. Those are the ones, before I became this minister of defense guy, I was the guy that was in the parking lot that everybody hugged on and loved on.
Sure.
So what I'm trying to tell people is this: the most profound things in your life can be found in the most simple ways. All you have to do is just be available and being open to them.
Be
and
aware.
You can learn from everything in life that you go through. You know, you can learn, you can gain strength, you can increase your knowledge, you can be better people. We all can. And the main thing that we need to do is learn that through our faith and our understanding, our acceptance of Christ and doing these types of things, we come closer together as a people.
We really do.
And I can serve you, and I can be here, and I can
serve
love
you,
on you. See, and if we do all of that, then the rest of this stuff won't even account anymore. You won't even see it. You don't have to pass a law to get rid of it. Only thing, you can kill it with a hug.
And a nice, really nice smile too. Not necessarily even touch sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Would you give our audience a way to contact you?
Absolutely. I'm all over the place. You can do it for my publisher, which the email address is snb@consumingfireinc.com, all one word.
Okay.
You can get me directly at ministerofdefense07@gmail.com.
Perfect.
I've got a Facebook page called Ministry of Defense where I send out information to people.
Right.
And I'm also on LinkedIn. Just look me up by my name, Pablo Birriel.
Okay.
And I'm a unique guy, because if you send me an email, and this what shocks people,
You
I
respond?
answer. So they can always get in contact with me. I'm always there to help.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for watching the show today. If you would like to be a guest or know of someone who would like to be a guest on the Masters Hall of Fame World News, please write to us at worldnews@mastershalloffame.org. Thank you, and stay tuned.